Welcome to episode 8 of season 5 of the Gospelovergimmicks podcast. Today we are going to discuss music. How should a Christian decide what kind to listen to? Let's get after it. Hello, and glad you could join me for the Gospelovergimmicks podcast. I'm your host, Richard Storm, and I'm here to tell you everything I know, some things I highly suspect. I think I'm going to turn my game down. Nah, I think it's alright. Okay, today we're going to talk about the role music plays in a Christian's life. When I was a kid, I was told any secular music was evil, and Christians ought not listen to it. Y'all know how I grew up. Old school independent fundamental Baptist. But I was told, you ought not listen to secular music. It's evil, blah, blah, blah. But, teenage me, because I got saved when I was 17, teenage me didn't understand that because I really liked heavy metal. And they talk about how it was Satan worship and all this. And I'm like, but I listen to it and it never makes me want to worship the devil. Like I never just get an insatiable desire to worship Satan or anything. So I didn't really understand. But now I'm older, been saved for like 22 years almost now. And I still don't agree that all secular music is evil. But I do see, I do understand now that music does affect you spiritually. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we get into that, how are you doing? So yes, I know I didn't mention it last episode, but we're still using this microphone, the Audio Technica. This will be the third episode we're using it now. And the thing is, I moved only 2 miles from my mom. She's 2 miles up the road. But I need to go over there and get my other box to plug the microphone in. And that'll tell me if it's the problem with the microphone or if this box is no good. And I haven't done that yet, but I do have a family get together Saturday. So after the family get together, I'll probably swing by my mom's house and I'm going to get the other box and my other condenser mic so that way I can plug them up and see if it's try them both out and see which one is the culprit as to why the microphone don't work. But I'm almost positive that there's something wrong with this box here. But anyway, lately I've been on a kick of redesigning the logo, so I put it up for vote. Now by the time y'all hear this episode, the results will already be in. But there was I put a poll up on the Facebook page so that two logos that I designed or redesigned, really, it's pretty much the same logo, like I said. Pretty much the same logo. I just kind of tweaked it and made it a little more pretty. And the voting is underway as of me recording this. I don't want to, the only way I know the results is if I vote, and I don't want to vote in my own poll because that don't seem fair. So I'm not going to find out till Monday, which is today when you are listening to this. That's when I'll find out which logo won, and that's the logo we're going to go with. Leaving it up to y'all to figure it out. And it looks like the one I like ain't going to win, but that's okay because I like them both. I just like one a little bit more than the other. But if the one wins, I'm probably gonna do it again, but with I know y'all don't care about this, but I'm probably gonna redo the yellow in it because the yellow is a little bit darker than I wanted it to be. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the winning logo on next week's episode. I'll even put it up on the screen for y'all so y'all can see it. But sticker giveaway. This is something I'm going to do, and apparently I just had them sitting right here. So, since we're redoing the logo, that means that the next time I order stickers, it's going to be with the new logo. So, I got 2 stickers here that are the last 2 stickers I have. So, if you want, I mean, you kind of could consider it a part of history, right? The last 2 stickers that are going to have the old logo on it. No more will ever be made. So if you would like to win one of these stickers, comment below in the YouTube video, or if you don't watch on YouTube and you only listen on the audio side of things, then just shoot me an email saying you want to win a sticker. And next week I'll pick 2 winners if we even get that many people participating, because y'all know how these contests go. But we'll pick 2 winners next week for the last 2 of the old school stickers before I order some new ones with the new logo on them. So the Bible study is in Galatians chapter 1, and we was going to do it. Was it next week? I said it was going to be the first episode in March, but it'll probably be the second, because I got another story I want to do. I got another episode I want to do before we do the Bible. It ain't got nothing to do with Bible study, but it's one of them stories. It just came out like last week or so, maybe. I want to do a story about the Boy Scouts. I used to be a Boy Scout only for like a year, so I'm not like, it's not like some kind of sentimental attachment I have. But if y'all know, the last week, the Boy Scouts of America filed for bankruptcy. And how they got there is, I want to talk about how they got from where they were when they started in 1910, I think it was, all the way up, all the stupid decisions they made from then up to now, where they're filing for bankruptcy. And in the Bible it talks about a little leaven. It talks about a little leaven ruins the whole lump, and that's kind of the story of the Boy Scouts of America. So I thought we would talk about that next week, because it's just sad. It's a sad story, but it's also something we can learn a lesson from. So we're going to talk about that next week. And then the week after that, we will do the Bible study. We're going to do Galatians chapter 1, and we're going to work our way through the book of Galatians for the foreseeable future till we finish it. So that's all I got for the opening segment. Let's go ahead and get into the main topic: Psalms, hymns, spiritual songs. Okay. So I don't know how many of you grew up in an old school independent Baptist church like I did, but if you did, I'm sure you heard your fair share of sermons in regards to music. Maybe not specific sermons that were, focused on music, but I'm sure you heard it mentioned more than one time. When I was a teenager, Marilyn Manson was the thing for preachers to talk about. He was the target of my pastor every chance he got. And even after, Marilyn Manson, and I ain't gonna lie, I was a big fan of Marilyn Manson in the 90s. But even when Marilyn Manson was like no longer relevant, like nobody really cared about him no more, my pastor for years still kept mentioning him. He mentioned Marilyn Manson. I'd be like, dude, nobody listens to him no more. And then eventually the torch got passed on to Slipknot. So, that was a good thing. Finally gave old Mr. Manson a break there. But, however, I'm not here to tell you what you ought to listen to. 'Cause I don't think that's my right. I don't think that's anybody's right to do. The Bible says to work out your own salvation. How, your convictions. I mean, there's some things, like I've said before, there's some things in this Bible that you can't get around. It says what it says, and you either do it, if you're supposed to do it, or you don't do it if you're not supposed to do it. But there's a lot of nuance, you know. There's a lot of things that I can't do this because it hurts my Christian walk for you. But somebody else, it might be, oh yeah, I ain't got no problem doing that. I've said that before in videos. That's not what today's video is about. But I'm not here to tell you what you listen to. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that all I listen to is gospel music or hymns or spiritual songs. I'm not going to lie to you and insult your intelligence that way, okay? I listen to all kinds of music, but mostly I listen to Christian music. And we're going to get into why that is in a little bit here. What I do hope to do, though, is show you why it's a good idea to have some discernment when choosing what you jam out to. It's very important. I didn't think that 20 years ago, but I think it now. I've heard preachers say that it's not just the lyrics that matter, it's also the beat of the music and whatnot. Because when you talk about, I listen to Christian rap, or I listen to Christian rock, be like, oh, no, there ain't such thing as Christian rock, or something, whatever. But they'll say, oh, the beat is very important. And to an extent, they're probably right, but it is neither here nor there. I'm not even going to get into that today. But one thing I know is that my opinion on music has changed quite a bit since I was a newly saved young man at 17 years old. It was 5 days before I turned 18 is when I got saved. I remember being in high school and I loved heavy metal, and I ain't gonna lie to you, I still love heavy metal, but the more discerning I have become, the longer you're saved, the more you ought to become more discerning if you're in your Bible and whatnot and paying attention. I guess it's true that there's a lot of Christians that are saved, and 20 years after they get saved, they're still just as dumb about the Bible as they were the day they got saved, because they don't get in it, they don't read it, study it. They're still drinking milk is what they're still doing. But the more discerning I become at old age, heavy metals drastically, and any other genre, has fallen down my priority list, It used to be like, boom, this is my top jam. I listen to heavy metal. I listen to some rap and country music and whatnot. That's what I listen to and whatever. But now that list has, priority list has drastically changed since back in the day. Let's first take a look at how music can be used in a negative way. Daniel chapter number 3. Whoa, I'm already there. So we'll jump ahead. So y'all know the story. Nebuchadnezzar set up his golden image, and he's commanded everybody to worship it. And how does he go about getting people to worship it? Verse number 4, then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. And whoso falleth not down and worshipeth shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. So music, Nebuchadnezzar's got this false god, this idol set up, and he's commanding everybody to bow down and worship it, and he's doing that with music. So this is a way music can be used in a way that's not very pleasing to God, because if your music is drawing your attention away from God, it's not pleasing to God. I don't have to tell you. Turn on, people give metal a bad name, and sometimes rightfully so, but just turn on your local pop station and listen to some of the lyrics that you hear those little teeny bopper people singing, and you'll find out they're just as bad as some of the other music that just seems to take all the blame. So there seems to be two main types of people. Unfortunately, this is how it usually is, right? I'm hoping that we can make a third group and you will join me in that third group. But there seems to be two types of people when it comes to the subject of music. The first group is mostly how evangelicals seem to view music nowadays. Oh, it don't matter. I listen to this and that. It don't matter what anything goes. It's okay. Listen to whatever you want. It don't matter what you listen to, etc., etc. And then next, opposite of those are the people who, you don't listen. You don't just listen to Southern gospel. Like, we have a local station here called The Gospel, 105.7. I believe that's the number. So they play Southern gospel. Well, gospel, I don't know how many of them people are from the South, but you get the idea. They play Southern gospel all day. So there's the type of people who are like, oh, you don't listen to Southern gospel all day? Well, you must not be saved then. People that kind of go the extreme end of what, the mostly evangelicals do, where you can listen to anything, it don't really matter, it don't really bother God, blah, blah, blah. And then you got people say, well, if you're not just listening to Southern gospel all day, you must not be saved. And if I'm being honest with you, this might hurt your feelings, but most of all the Southern gospel on the radio sounds the same. It's boring. Like, you don't even have to tell me, like, oh, this is such and such song from such and such group. You don't even have to tell me the group name, because it sounds just like the last group y'all just played. That's not to say there ain't good gospel out there. I'm just saying when it comes to what they play on a radio station, it pretty much all sounds the same. That's why I hardly ever listen to 105.7. Sometimes I'll flip it over there, but if I was to listen to it for hours and hours on end, I'd be like, ain't this the song y'all just played? Oh no, it just sounds exactly the same. It kind of cookie cutter, kind of has that cookie cutter feel to it. But that, like I said, is not to say there ain't good gospel out there. You just kind of got to go look for it. By the way, you can always follow if you use the Spotify, if you have a Spotify subscription, you use Spotify app, you can always go follow my my gospel playlist. Let me see how many. It's got the most followers of any playlist I got, which blows my mind. 1,469 people follow it's called Old Time Gospel and Hymns Mostly. That's what it's called. So if you're I'm just throwing that out there. If you're a Spotify user, you can go check that out. And I'm always adding to it every time I find something good. It's called, like I just said, Old Time Gospel and Hymns, and then I put in quotation, or I put in parentheses, mostly, because sometimes you hear a song that's not, an old gospel song, but it sounds like it could be, But anyway, I'm moving on. But let's meet somewhere in the middle. If you think you can just listen to any music and it won't have any effect on you spiritually, you're being ignorant. You know it? You're not paying attention. We're in a spiritual battle, and Satan will use anything he can to get an advantage on you, man. He knows. Some people ain't into music. My pastor, he's not really a music person. I know my uncle, he's not really into music. Some people just, when you're obsessed like I am when it comes to music, you look at people who aren't what's wrong with you? Why don't you love music as much as I do? It's weird. But that's the great thing about us is that none of us are the same. We're all different. Some people love music like me. Some people's like, I can take it or leave it. But anyway, spiritual battle. Satan will use music, because if you love it like I do, you understand music it can bring feelings out of it you didn't know were there. You know what? When you're emotional, it can make the world better. It can make you mad. It can do, and music has a powerful effect on us, and it can affect you spiritually. So don't sit there and think you can just listen to any old thing and it'll be just fine. Sometimes I make myself listen to my playlist I was just telling you about, my gospel hymn playlist, whatever I called it. And I'm always glad I did. One time, and I learned this at my last job, I was mad. My boss done made me mad. I was ticked. Put my headphones on. Now I understand not everybody has a job where you can listen to music, but I cut grass. So I put my headphones in, got on the mower, started mowing, and 20, 30 minutes later, I was well, you can't really put your hand in the air on a zero-turn mower, but you get what I'm saying. Boy, I was worshiping riding that mower because it affects your spirit. That music does. If I'd have been mad at my boss and ticked off, and I'd have put on metal, it would have just made me more mad than what I was. On the other hand, for the people on the other side, not all music that's not Southern gospel is going to make you just automatically go out and start committing sin, like you're some kind of mindless zombie. Heavy metal never made me want to worship Satan. Never did. I never had, oh yeah, hail Satan. If I come across a song that was that was blatantly, promoting Satan, and then I wouldn't listen to it. I wouldn't even listen to that band. And then, I love country music. I love, probably more than I love it. As far as secular music goes, country is probably my first love because I grew up listening to country in the 80s and 90s. And it just, sentimental value, I guess you could say. But it doesn't make me want to go get drunk. It doesn't make me want to go cheat on my wife or anything. Country doesn't have that effect on me. I understand it might be different for some people, but I think that's most people. They don't listen to country and be like, hey, let's go get drunk and this and that. The key is to understand that while I love that stuff, man, I love me some metal. I love me some country. I hardly ever listen to metal anymore. But I do listen to country some. I was listening to it in the shower earlier. And I love that stuff. But if you listen to it all day, every day, if I listen to it all day, every day, it affects me spiritually. I can tell. I can tell that it does. And I'm not saying it's going to make me run out and start sinning and worshiping Satan or anything. I'm just saying that I can feel like my thoughts aren't on God as much as they would be when I'm listening to that stuff constantly, every day, day in and day out. So let's talk about music. Music that honors God. Do you got to be a singer? A good one? Do you got to be some kind of knockout, star of a singer to do it? Well, if you want me to listen to it, you do. But lucky for you, God will listen to you regardless. Let's go to Psalm 95:1. I'm going to use... No, I'm not, because I closed it. Okay. Psalm 95:1. I was going to use my Bible app. I had it open earlier on the computer. eSword. I don't know if any of y'all use eSword. I had it open, but apparently I closed it. Psalm 95:1. O come, let us sing unto the Lord. Let us make a joyful noise to the rock of our salvation. Now, you know where I got the name of that segment we do at the end of the show, which I probably won't be doing today either. Joyful noise, because I can't sing. I can't carry a tune in a bucket. But the Bible don't say you got to be able to sing. It just says make a joyful noise. My preacher likes to quote this verse whenever he has to lead singing by himself because he can't sing either. So make a joyful noise unto the Lord. You don't have to be no famous, knockout voice. Though my pastor's wife, boy, if she was in the music business, if she'd have made an attempt like to go to Nashville or something like that, she'd probably be making a whole lot of money by now. But glad she didn't. I'm glad she's at church and singing to us. But she has a fantastic kind of voice. Because she don't need no, that's how you know you're a good singer. When you don't need no instruments, you can just sing a cappella and it's like, ugh. Anyway, she probably listened to this. And, but she knows. We all love her voice. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, Psalm 95:1 and then Psalm 100, verse 1, which is, like, like, if you got a Schofield, it's just like right on the other side of the page there. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Make a joyful noise when you're singing. It should be joyful. Ain't nothing to be sad about. Why should you do it? Why should you make this joyful noise? Why should you sing to the Lord or listen to someone else doing it? Psalm 71:23. My lips shall greatly rejoice when I sing unto thee, and my soul, which thou hast redeemed. Why should you sing it? He redeemed your soul. That's a pretty big deal. That's something worth singing about. James 5:13. Is any among you afflicted? Let him pray. Is any merry? Let him sing psalms. Are you married? Does being saved make you merry? It ought to. So you got plenty of reasons. And y'all know how I feel about modern worship music. A bunch of ambiguous words repeated over and over again. And very vague references, if they have any at all, of God or Jesus in the entire song. Like I've said before, you could take most of these modern worship songs that people like Hillsong and Elevation, whatever, come out with. You could take them, put them on the pop radio station, and make a bunch of money. Because they sound like a love song somebody wrote to their girlfriend or boyfriend. I mean, there's really no difference in most of them. When you sing a spiritual song, there should be no doubt who it's about. Like I just said, you shouldn't. Feels like there's a cord wrapped around my leg. You shouldn't listen to a song and be like, oh, this is a good song. I'm sending this to my girlfriend. There should be some. I got an example for you. Listen, I got an example. So here's a song that I bet everybody knows. It was pretty popular. I'm not going to read all the lyrics, but it's called Good Good Father by Chris Tomlin. This song was one of them viral worship songs, and like I said, I'm not going to read the lyrics to you, but I'll tell you right now, Google it, look them up. There is not one mention in this entire song of God or Jesus. I've looked through them. I'm looking through them right now. You're a good, good father. It's who you are, it's who you are, it's who you are, and I'm loved by you. It's who I am, it's who I am, it's who I am. Like I said, a bunch of nonsense just repeated over and over again. And, evangelicals eat this stuff up because they want to be emotionally stirred. That's how they think they're worshiping, because their emotions got stirred up. But from top to bottom, not one mention of God. I'm just saying, that's how a lot of these songs are. So whether you are singing or listening, the only music the Bible prescribes for Christians is psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. Ephesians 5:19, speaking to yourselves in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your heart to the Lord. Melody in your heart. Like that a lot. Colossians 3:16, let the word of Christ dwell in you richly in all wisdom, teaching and admonishing one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing with grace in your hearts. So the other verse said melody in your hearts. This one says grace in your hearts to the Lord. A good Christian song should be biblical. Notice that part there where it says teaching and admonishing one another in psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs. They should be biblical, because that is a way in which you learn. That's the problem with a lot of songs, like these modern songs. They're not biblical. They don't have theology in them. They're just kind of shallow. They're not real deep, so nobody learns. They get their emotions stirred up, but they don't really learn about God when they're singing them. So the people who think that any non-Christian music is wicked, well, they probably didn't have very good taste in music to begin with. However, I do think that God-honoring Christian music should be what you listen to the majority of the time. That's mostly what I listen to. Is my gospel playlist, like I just told you about. That's mostly what I listen to, like 75% of the time, and then sometimes I'll listen to my country playlist a few days in a row. And then when I come back to the gospel playlist, it's like, oh yeah, I love this song and this and that, because after a while, even though I got, how many songs are on this playlist? 276 songs on my playlist here. Eventually, they can start to get old. So I take a break, go over to another playlist, and then when I come back, it's like brand new all over again. So, all non-Christian music is not wicked and evil, and it's not going to cause you to run out and worship Satan and sin and whatnot. But you need to understand that stuff affects you in your spirit. If you listen to secular music all the time, over and over again, it's going to affect you. It's going to get your mind off God. Because sometimes I get some good ideas for podcasts when I'm listening to my playlist, my Christian playlist, because it gets my mind thinking about God, thinking about things I've read in the Bible. Oh, thinking about the rapture, thinking about what heaven's going to be like, this and that and the other thing. So it keeps your mind. It's important to realize the power of music and how it affects you spiritually. It can, it can pull you away from God. It can do it. I'm not saying it's wicked to listen to other types of music, but you better do it in moderation. Because if the devil can use music to pull you away from God, he's most definitely going to do it. That's all I got for you today. I appreciate y'all listening. I didn't get all preachy today like I did last week, so that's a good thing. For social media links, a biography of your host, Stormin Norman, that's my name, don't wear it out, and a list of places to get the podcast, visit the website, gospelovergimmicks.org. If you would like to support the podcast financially, you can do so at patreon.com/gospelovergimmicks. And I appreciate every donation. Here's my donators. Let me get my camera up. Here is our lovely patrons. Roger Waters, Leanna Williams, Rusty Williams. Those are the people that keep the train rolling. If you got any comments, any questions, and let me just point out that when I order the new stickers, they have the new logo on them, whichever one wins. If you're a patron, you get a new sticker automatically. You ain't got to win no contest. You ain't got to pay for it. If you're a patron, when the stickers come in, you'll get one. If you got any comments, any questions, any suggestions for a show you'd like to see me do, something you'd like to see me cover, maybe I ain't done it before, or maybe I ain't done it in a long time, gospelovergimmicks@gmail.com. That's all we got for you today. Remember, if you want to win, these are the last two. The last two stickers I have with the old logo on it before the new one takes effect, whichever one wins the contest. But this is the last two stickers I got with the now old logo on it. Comment down below if you want to win it. Let me know that you want to. Don't just comment, because if you comment, I'll comment it. So now you got to let me know that you would like to be considered to win one of these stickers. Okay? So make sure you do that if you want to win one. That's all I got for you today. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you here again next week. Until next week, take up your cross carry on. Have you been to Jesus for the cleansing power? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb? Are you fully trusting in His grace this hour? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb?